Okay. Now we finished 61. We're on 62.
Okay, 62.
Keep it open. Makes it easier. In connection with the verse from Isaiah, the Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the phrase? I got your text message. You should be devoured by the sword. Rava says this verse should be interpreted as if it states, you shall devour the sword. You shall eat food that harms the body like a sword. We're totally switching conversations. Wait, what was the original up in connection with the verse from Isaiah? If you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured by the sword.
Oh, because it's talking still about those double conditions.
Okay.
So they're just still like, but this isn't a double
Yeah,
condition.
all right, let me turn it down.
Sorry.
I'm just always afraid of it making an echo, but maybe it won't. Um, okay, so that's where it's coming from.
I think so, at least.
You shall be devoured by the sword. Coarse grains of salt, hard barley bread, and onions. As the master said, dried bakery bread eaten with salt and onions harms the body like swords.
Wow. Good to know. The Gemara asks, granted, according to the opinion of Rabbi Hanina ben Gamliel, this is the reason that it is written with regard to a sot. If no man has lain with you, and if you have not gone aside to uncleanness, be under your husband, you shall be free, without specifying the negative side of this condition. But according to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, the verse should have stated, and if a man has lain with you, you should choke and die.
Okay. The
According
difference between hinaki
Oh,
and
this is about the
hinaki.
Sota ritual.
What? Sota?
The Sota ritual.
Is that
This
the
is like
wayward son?
no, this is
Oh,
the
that's the
like
so. Wait, what is the wayward son also starts with a so sound, doesn't it?
it does. I think so. No, the Sota ritual is for a woman who is accused of like laying with another other than her husband. And it's really bad. Like it's a really bad situation. Anyhow,
Oh.
um uh you should choke and die. According to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, the verse should have clarified the other side of the condition and its ensuing punishment. Rabbi Tanchum said, indeed, a truncated form of chenaki, yeah, chenaki without the letter yod is written. I said yod, it's yud.
Mhm.
This indicates that the word should be interpreted in two ways, both chenaki and chenaki. I
Yeah.
don't see
So
how that
no,
makes
the
any
difference is
difference.
he and he.
Yes, but I
Because
know
one
enough.
you shall be free, hinaki, and one you shall choke, hinaki, hinaki. That seems to be the difference.
Whoa.
The Gemara continues, granted according to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, this is the reason that it is written hinaki without the yud, to allude to the other side of the condition. But according to the opinion of Rabbi Hanina ben Gamliel, why do I need this word to be written in this way? The Gemara answers, it is necessary, as it might enter your mind to say, if no man has lain with you, you shall be free, and if he has lain with you, you should neither be free nor choke. Rather, it is merely a prohibition that does not warrant a severe punishment. The unusual form of the term hinaki teaches us this is not the case.
Granted, according to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, this is the reason that it is written with regard to one being purified with the water of the purification from contact with a corpse. He shall purify himself with it on the third day and on the seventh day, and he shall be pure. But if he does not purify himself on the third day and on the seventh day, he shall not be pure. But according to the opinion of Rabbi Hanina ben Gamliel, why do I need this double formulation?
It's so funny because this is the one that I did most recent. Like almost everything they're mentioning, like the corpse, the woman, like I whatever's the Torah thing that I read most recently in August. They're all from the same thing. So
Oh,
it's like I know this one kind of well because I'm like, oh, this is a review from
I
the
just
one that
did
I
this.
let's see recently read or chanted. Hi, baby. The Gemara, is it your reading?
No, it's your read.
Okay. The Gemara answers, it is necessary, as it might enter your mind to say, the mitzvah of sprinkling the water of purification must be performed on the third and seventh days ab initio. But if he performed it on one of them alone, the ritual is considered performed, and then he is purified after the fact. The verse therefore teaches us that this is not the case.
Hey, this is not the case. The Gemara asks about a later verse in the same chapter, and the pure shall sprinkle on the impure on the third day and on the seventh day. Why do I need this repetition of the command? This was already stated earlier. That's how I feel about most of the Talmud.
I know.
The Gemara answers, it is necessary, as it might enter your mind to say that the third day excludes the second, i.e., he cannot receive the sprinkling of the water of purification before the third day, and similarly, the seventh excludes the sixth, because he thereby decreases the days of purity before sprinkling. But if he perform the sprinkling on the third and on the eighth days, in which case he increases or adds to the day of purity, you might say this is proper. This verse teaches us that there must be a fixed interval of 4 days between each sprinkling ritual.
Okay. So it, again, all about specifics.
Yes.
The Gemara further analyzes this verse. Why do I need the phrase, and on the seventh day he shall purify him? The Gemara answers, it is necessary, as it might enter your mind to say, this matter, the requirement to receive the sprinkling twice, applies for only for eating and touching consecrated meat, but for partaking of terumah, one sprinkling is also sufficient. The verse therefore teaches us that this is not the case.
All right. Thank you so much, because now we're going to move to another Mishnah. Mishnah, with regard to one who betroths a woman betroths
Yeah.
betroths a woman and later says, when I betrothed her, I thought she was the daughter of a priest, and it turned out that she's the daughter of a Levite. Or if he claims that he thought she was the daughter of a Levite and she is actually the daughter of a priest. Or if he claims that he thought she was poor and she is wealthy, or wealthy and she is poor. In all of these cases, she is betrothed because she did not mislead him, and no explicit condition was stated with regards to these.
A win for the woman.
A win for the woman.
Aren't the priests Levites though at their core? They are also Levites.
It's a different group. Like all the priests are Levites, but not all the Levites are priests, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but so in the end, every Kohen is a Levite.
Correct.
Okay.
But there's different status between a Kohen.
Yeah. With regard to one who says to a woman, you are hereby betrothed to me after I convert, or after you convert, or if he was a Canaanite slave and says, after I am emancipated, or if she was a Canaanite maidservant and he says, after you are emancipated, or if he says to a married woman, after your husband dies, to his wife's sister, after your sister dies, or if he says to a woman awaiting levirate marriage, or a chalitza from a brother-in-law, yavam, who in the opinion of this Tana cannot be betrothed to another man. After your yavam performs chalitza for you, in all these cases, she is not betrothed.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah, because she broke it off. There, she's not like attached to this family anymore. Since he cannot betroth her at the present, it's been that way the whole time, but we've just been pronouncing it with the e.
No, it's betrothed. Yeah, we're good. We're right.
Yeah. At the present time, his attempt at betrothal is ineffective. Betrothal. No, just being silly.
But I was gonna say you can't do any of these things. You can't be like, you are betrothed to me after I convert, or after you convert, or after your husband dies. Like, converting is fine, but like, I mean,
yeah,
not according to halakhic Judaism, but according to me, that's fine.
Yeah, after I'm emancipated, then we will be betrothed. Well, it's like, okay, that's a wish for the future, I guess. It's not a full-on
conversion. No, that's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And similarly, with regard to one who says to another, if your wife gives birth to a female, the child is hereby betrothed to me. Even if she becomes pregnant or is pregnant, but her pregnancy is not known, if she gives birth to a girl, that child is not betrothed to him. But if he said this when the wife of the other man was pregnant and her fetus was discernible at the time her pregnancy was known, his statement is upheld, and therefore, if she gives birth to a girl, the child is betrothed.
What?
How do you know? How do they know?
The one who says to another, if your wife gives birth to a female, the child is hereby betrothed to me. What's she gonna get in return?
Well, no, listen, there's a lot to say about that, but the question is,
her fetus was discernible?
Yeah.
How could they do that back then?
I don't know how they discerned it. That's a good question.
Not even out yet.
The idea is, if it was before the wife was betrothed, or you didn't know the gender of the fetus, then it doesn't count as an actual thing because it's not official. And only when it's discernible, like you know what gender the child is, then it's upheld. And then that's actually a condition.
Wait, the first one, if your wife gives birth to a female, the child is hereby betrothed to me, even if she becomes pregnant or is pregnant, but her pregnancy is not known. If she gives birth to a girl, the child is not betrothed to him.
Right.
Why? What makes this one different from the second one?
Okay, so because it's So the person says, if your wife gives birth to a female, the child is hereby betrothed to me, but the woman has not yet become pregnant. So if she becomes pregnant, or is pregnant, but her pregnancy is not known to the rest of the world, or if she gives birth to a girl, if she gives birth to, only in those two situations. So if she's pregnant,
the difference is she's not pregnant yet. Okay, never mind.
She's not pregnant, or the pregnancy hasn't been like announced.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It's just being like, I own all the female children that come out of you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Gemara. Wait, I think it's your turn.
Is it my turn? Gemara, we learned in a Mishnah there, Terumot 1:5, one may not separate terumah from produce. Oh no, that has been detached from the ground for, i.e., to render it permitted produce that is attached to the ground. Produce, still attached to the ground, is not included in the obligation of terumah. And if he separated terumah in this manner, his terumah is not terumah, even after the produce has been detached from the ground. So you can't separate it out. One may not separate terumah from produce that has been detached from the ground.
You cannot separate it, okay? So you have to pick it all at once and say, this is terumah, and now I cannot do anything with, and nothing can be added or subtracted to it, from it.
You may not separate terumah from produce that has been detached from the ground, or produce that is attached to the ground.
One may not separate terumah from the produce that has been detached from the ground. It's now all terumah.
Okay, yes.
And you can't add to it either.
Cool.
We took it out. These were the first fruits. Rav Asi raised a dilemma before Rabbi Yochanan. What is the halacha if one said the detached produce of this garden bed should be terumah for the attached produce of this garden bed? Or the attached produce of this garden bed should be terumah for the detached produce of this garden bed?
Got it.
No, but when they will be detached and the produce was subsequently detached, Rabbi Yochanan said to him, anything that is in one's power to perform is not considered lacking in its action. Since it could theoretically detach the produce at this very moment, terumah can be separated from it. So they're arguing.
So it's a certain thing, even if it hasn't been done yet. Like if I'm capable of doing the thing, it counts for me to do the thing.
Terumah can be separated from it, he says.
Yes.
But that goes against what they said up here.
I think what they were saying up there, and I really can't understand it because I'm really not sure, but I think what they were saying up there was that you can't say that one is, where did it go?
It's right here.
There, okay. You can't say that the detached thing is terumah for something that is still attached. You have to pull it all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
The other guy said, what?
I understand that. It has to be all at the same time. And then
you're right, because then what this is a dilemma, this is a contradiction of that. You're right.
Then Rabbi Yochanan says, yes, you can. You can separate terumah from any detached produce. You can detach a bunch of produce and be like, this is terumah and this is not. But so it looks like Rav Asi is going to raise an objection.
Okay, good. I needed him too because I don't understand. Rav Asi raised an objection to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan from the Mishnah with regard to one who says to a woman, you are hereby betrothed to me after I convert, or after you convert, or after I am emancipated, or after you are emancipated, or after your husband dies, or after your sister dies, or after your yavam performs chalitza for you. In all these cases, she is not betrothed. Right.
Rav Asi explains his objection. Granted, in all these cases, but one, it is not in his power to bring about the situation when he would be able to betroth her. But in the case of a convert, the matter is in his power, as he could convert now if he so chooses. According to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, any action that could potentially be performed is considered as though it has actually been performed. That sounds really dumb. Like, I'm capable of murdering somebody. But, like, does that mean that I have actually done it? No. Like, because it's like I have hands and I have a body that can move. Like, anybody could do this. I can, I don't know, I could steal something.
Right.
And this is a dumb argument. According to he says any action that can be potentially performed is considered as though it has actually been performed. The Gemara responds, in the case of a convert, it is also not in his power to convert whenever he wants. As Rabbi Hiya ben Bar Abba says that Rabbi Yochanan says.
I love when somebody says what somebody else says.
I know. A convert requires the presence of 3 Jews for his conversion. What is the reason for this requirement? It is written with regard to a convert. You shall have one manner of law for the convert as for the homeborn, which indicates that a conversion is considered a judgment that requires 3 judges. And if he requires 3 judges, who says that those 3 will be available to him?
Okay, I
If he
mean, valid.
cannot convert at the time of his choosing, it is not considered within his power to convert. Good. Everybody needs to go against Rabbi Yochanan.
Rabbi Abba ben Memel objects to this. If that is so, and anything that is within one's power to perform is not considered lacking in its action, one who gives one peruta to his Canaanite maidservant and says, "You are hereby betrothed to me after I emancipate you," so too will you say that that is a betrothal because he has the power to emancipate her. The Gemara rejects the suggestion. How can these cases be compared? There, the Canaanite maidservant initially had the legal status of an animal. She's not subject to betrothal at all. Wow, I hate that.
I know.
I said that with the words out of my mouth.
Well,
she's not subject to betrothal at all, whereas now she has an independent mind. Oh, she didn't have one before?
Oh my god.
I don't like this.
Oh my god.
When she's been emancipated, she has the status of a Jew and is not considered the same person at all. Consequently, the attempted betrothal is certainly considered lacking in action. Okay, so first of all, obviously we hate slavery, right? This is a bad thing. Dislike. Dislike the way that this is spoken about.
Oh my god.
I am going to say this, though. It is good that they are saying that she can't consent. Because they were saying...
Yeah, that is good. I mean, just the same as,
the power to consent.
I don't know, like prisoners in jail, like, they have the same... Like, I think about, what was it? Orange is the New Black, and, like, the one, the guard that was, like, falling in love with the one inmate, and it's like, it's not allowed because he's in a position of power and she's not.
Correct. It's not because she's an animal and doesn't have an independent mind. That's not why. It's because it's a position of power. Yeah,
which, maybe it's real love and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, it can be seen as not. The Gemara asks...
saying that with my mouth. I hope never to have to say anything like that again. That was horrible.
Well, it is the Talmud. I'm sure there'll be more. The Gemara asks, but that which Rabbi Oshaya says, with regard to one who gives one peruta to his wife and says to her, "You are hereby betrothed to me after I divorce you." She is not betrothed. So too, according to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, will you say that it is a betrothal because he has the power to divorce her? Like, what a weird game you would play with someone. The Gemara answers, although he has the power to divorce her, does he have the power to betroth her against her will?
No,
it is not in his power to effect the betrothal, as once she has divorced him, the matter is no longer exclusively dependent upon him. Good, a win for the woman.
A win for the woman. The Gemara comments. Being that it is not in his power to effect the betrothal, you can use the logic to resolve the dilemma raised by Rav Oshaya. What is the halakha with regard to one who gives 2 perutot to a woman, and with one he says to her, "Be betrothed to me today," and with the other he says to her, "Be betrothed to me after I divorce you"? Why would you do this?
I know. Why do they come up with these dumb, like, I don't know, they spend their time arguing about the weirdest of things.
What is her status after he divorces her? That dilemma was left unanswered. The Gemara suggests that you can resolve it from here, that it is not a betrothal.
Oh my god.
Gemara explains that this case is different, and Rav Oshaya's dilemma was actually as follows. Perhaps in that situation, just as the betrothal is effective now, it is also effective afterwards. Since she is currently under her own authority and agrees to betroth herself to him, it is possible that she can now consent to a betrothal that will take effect at a later time.
Just as the betrothal is effective now, is it also effective afterwards?
Okay. So basically, she can consent. She can say, "I will." She can say, "I will betroth myself to you now." Like, I will be betrothed to you now, and then, and because I'm still within my own power, because of course, as soon as I marry a man, suddenly I'm under his power. But while I'm still under my own power, I can also consent to betroth myself to you after you divorce me. Though why a woman would ever do that?
I know. Like, I mean, I do have a friend who her parents divorced when she was like 4, and then they got remarried when she was like 12 or something.
Right, but I don't think they started that way. I don't think they were like, first off, we're gonna get married, and then listen, we're gonna get divorced, but afterwards we're gonna get married again.
Like,
I don't think that was like from the months.
The Gemara comments, it is taught in a Baraita in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. One may not separate terumah from the detached,
For the attached.
detached for the attached. And if he separated terumah, his terumah is not terumah. How so? If he said the detached produce of this garden bed will be terumah for the attached produce of this garden bed, or the attached produce of this garden bed will be terumah for the detached produce of this garden bed, he has not said anything of consequence. The obligation to separate terumah applies only to detached produce.
Okay.
Good. See,
Okay.
Rabbi Yochanan, it's like he seems to be the butt of all the jokes now. But if he said that the attached produce will be terumah when they will be detached and they become detached, his statement is valid, as he has the power to detach them.
Okay. All right.
So terumah is just the first fruits, right?
Right, it's that little section of fruit that you're supposed to sacrifice.
But why do you need to have? Why would you ever give fruit to another garden once it's been cut off its own?
You're not giving it to another garden. You're giving it to God.
I know, but like, no, what is he saying? The attached produce of this bed will be for the detached produce of this bed. Like, why?
Okay, so it's gonna count as the terumah for this other part. So basically, you can have a bunch of roses in a garden, right? And I can pick 10 roses. But if I pick 10 roses and say, I'm going to let the rest grow, this is the terumah, that doesn't work. But if I say, this section of roses, when I pluck them, is going to become the terumah for all of it.
Okay.
And that's fine. That is valid.
What I'm imagining is that they're cutting, I don't know, something rhubarb, and then they're like just putting it in the it's like they're trying to reattach it to already attached rhubarb in another area.
No. No, yeah.
Okay.
You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to plant two different kinds in the same garden anyway. Moreover, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said that even if one said the detached produce of this garden will be terumah for the attached produce of this garden bed, or the attached produce of this garden bed will be terumah for the detached produce of this garden bed, when they attach the produce, the attached produce will reach 1/3 of their growth and are detached, although at the time they had yet to ripen, which means that the obligations of terumot and tithes do not apply to them. When they will reach 1/3 of their growth and are detached, his statement is upheld.
Okay, because
why does Rabbi Eliezer get to say that? Because he can't enact it. He can't enact that they will be ripened.
Wait, no, because he gave a good stipulation. He said, "Wait, the detached produce of this garden bed will be terumah."
Oh, because he gave a specific stipulation. He said when it does this, then okay, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense to me, Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rabbah said, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, this ruling only with regard to fodder, produce that has grown stalks even if it is not yet ripe. But he did not refer to produce that is still completely soft, agam. Rav Yosef says he even referred to soft produce. In relation to this dispute, the Gemara asks, from where may it be inferred that this word agam is a term of growth, butzlana? The Gemara answers that Rabbi Elazar said that this is as the verse states. Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, ke agmon, like a soft drooping plant?
Okay. The Gemara asks, in accordance with whose opinion is that which is taught in the following Baraita. With regard to one who says to another, if your wife gives birth to a female, she is betrothed to me, he has not said anything. And Rabbi Hanina says they taught this halacha only in the case where the other's wife is not pregnant. But if his wife is pregnant, his statement is upheld. In accordance with whose opinion is this ruling? The Gemara answers the Baraita can be explained in accordance with everyone's opinion. If it's in accordance with the opinion of Rabbah, it is referring to a situation where her fetus was already noticeable, just as the stalks of fodder are recognizable. If it is in accordance with the opinion of Rav Yosef, the halacha of the Baraita applies even if her fetus is not yet noticeable.
Wait, now I'm extra confused.
Okay, they're basically saying that you can use this example of when it's acceptable to betroth a woman's child to you, either by the opinion of Rabbah or by the opinion of Rav Yosef. By the opinion of Rabbah, it has to be the stalks. By the opinion of Rav Yosef, it can even be soft fruits.
Oh, even if her fetus is not
yet noticeable.
But then you wouldn't even know she's pregnant.
What?
You wouldn't even know she's pregnant.
Exactly. I'm sure they're going to bring that up.
Okay. And there are those who say a different version of this dispute.
Oh no.
Rabba
I'm so
says,
sorry. They did not bring it up.
I know, I'm like, are they gonna clarify this or not? Um, well, maybe, I mean, I guess you could go off the fact that she doesn't have a period anymore. That's the only other way. Like, Rabba says, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, with his ruling only with regard to fodder of a non-irrigated field, which is not watered. But he did not speak about fodder of an irrigated field. Since the produce of this field will not grow on its own if it is not watered, it is not considered as if this produce has entered the world. Wow, okay. Rav Yosef said Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov referred even to fodder of an irrigated field, as this produce too is treated as having entered the world when it reaches the stage of fodder. So they're talking
They
about
are actively arguing about when life begins with relation to a field.
Rabba and Rav Yosef don't know what Rabbi Eliezer meant. Is that's the whole thing.
Correct.
Okay. But so yeah, they're like that you're right. They're talking about life.
They are, which is a really interesting topic. Okay.
Yeah.
The Gemara asks, according to this version of the dispute, in accordance with whose opinion is that which is taught in the following Baraita? If one says to another, if your wife gives birth to a female and she's betrothed to me, he has not said anything. And Rabbi Chanina says, they taught this only when the wife is not pregnant, but if the wife is pregnant, the statement is upheld. In accordance with whose opinion is this ruling, the Baraita must be referring to a case where her fetus was noticeable, and therefore everyone agrees with this ruling. The Baraita is in accordance with the opinions of both Rabbah and Rav Yosef, even as Rav Yosef agrees that Rabbi ben Yaakov was referring only to fodder whose stalks were already noticeable.
Rabba and Rav Yosef. Well, that's both of them, though. I don't see.
They agree. Okay, so no, they figured it out. That's what happened.
But how did they figure
thought about it and then they figured it out, which is that they agree that it's only when the fetus is noticeable, and so they're only talking about fodder when the stalks are already noticeable.
Otherwise, it's just a barren.
Oh no! They're saying that Rabbi Eliezer, at bare minimum, the bare minimum is he couldn't be referring to any earlier than when the stalks were noticeable. He just might even not be referring to it then if it's a non-irrigated field.
Okay, so it's like they were arguing for a while about what did Rav Eliezer actually meant, and then they decided that he meant the
They
stalks.
decided at bare minimum the stalks have to be noticeable.
Okay.
At bare minimum, that's what we can agree on.
And what does it mean for the woman then? The woman must be a little bit pregnant in order for the child to be betrothed.
The fetus has to be at least noticeable.
Okay, before there can be any betrothal.
Correct.
Abaye says, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi and Rabbi Meir all hold the following principle. A person can transfer an entity that has not yet come into the world. That is, one can perform an act of acquisition for an item that is not yet in existence. Like, okay, I'm gonna make you a car. I haven't made the car yet, but it will be yours once it's made. That is, okay, the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov is referring to that which we just said, that one can separate terumah even for produce not yet included in this mitzvah. Where does Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi state a similar opinion? Well, it's like
sometime tomorrow.
You know, why do we need to know? Why do we need to know where Rabbi Yehuda says this? But I guess it's important.
Well, because you need to back it up, because that's a wild claim. Rabbi Eliezer said that everybody agrees that a person can transfer an entity that has not yet come into the world. Like, acquisition. How can you already act upon something that does not yet exist?
Oh, that makes me think of that weird Dutch tulip inflation thing that happened like in the 1700s or whenever that was. There's an Adam Ruins Everything episode about it, where like it was like tulip mania, and like people were like buying stock in tulips that hadn't even grown yet, thinking that they were going to be all these colors and we're going to have all these tulips when they come. That's so interesting. Okay.
That's a wild claim.
Well, we're going to learn more tomorrow. All right, bye.
But by the same token, we also like do that all the time. Okay, bye.
Yeah.